Welcome to my channel. My name is Daisy. I'm a 21-year-old stay-at-home mum at the moment. This is my new channel, and I'm going to be posting once a week, every week on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. and this is my first video that I'm filming. I kind of thought today that I'd just do a little chit chat and also a bit of a story time about my pregnancy and my birth, just because I feel like it's a good way to start your channel, a fresh start, and I feel like I don't just want to post a video of me and my son and people be like, oh, what happened? So, yeah, let's get on with the video then, I suppose. So, I currently live with my partner, and we live in the Wiltshire area, and we have just had our baby. Our baby is coming up to 2 months old. His name is Perry. And, yeah, I don't really know how to start these videos off because I feel like usually people know who you are before you post your birth story, but I thought I'd post mine just because I feel like a lot of social media glamorise the side of pregnancy and the sides of before pregnancy and like the whole pregnancy journey and trimester 4. I'm not going to do that here because none of it was glamorous, and until I saw him I said I would never get pregnant again. I said it was a one-time thing and that I will not go through that hell again. So when I found out I was pregnant, it was in like the April. So I was about 6 weeks pregnant when I found out. I didn't know how far along I was. I thought I was a bit more on that, but it turns out it was about 6 weeks. So I went to a 12-week appointment thinking I was 12 weeks, and I was like, you're actually in 6 weeks. So I was like, I've got to relive that whole 12 weeks again because them 6 weeks are the dreaded 6 weeks, because it's like, is everything going to go smoothly? Is there going to be any complications? Yada, yada, yada. And with someone who's already had one miscarriage before, I was very, very, very much on edge thinking, please, 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 Lord, do not let anything happen to this baby. Thankfully, obviously, nothing did. He's literally here asleep right now. But yeah, so obviously I got to that 12 weeks, everything was smooth, everything was fine. I have to say I was vomiting constantly. I was throwing up about 2 meals a day at least throughout the whole of my pregnancy. So from the day I found out, obviously I took a test because I'd been sick and I was thinking, well, I've not eaten anything I could have got food poisoning from. So I wanted to rule that out, and I genuinely did not think that I would be pregnant. So with my medical history, with my epilepsy, I've basically been told that I couldn't get pregnant, and if I did get pregnant, that the baby wouldn't be healthy or wouldn't survive. So with being told that, I'd kind of already sussed out my options and ruled out a natural pregnancy because I'd been told it wasn't going to happen. And to be honest, me and Adam had only just come to terms that, you know, that's not going to happen. We wasn't... You all right, mate? We wasn't obviously planning on having a kid at the time, but, you know, God has a reason and God has a way of bringing you exactly what you do need. So obviously when I found out, I was very, very like skeptical. I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone because I don't know. We didn't actually tell anyone until we didn't really tell people until the August. So I would have been April, May, June, about 4 or 5 months pregnant at that point. And that's when we released it on social media, and that's when we told our family as well. Because I was so on edge. I was like, I don't want anyone to know until I know, sort of thing. Obviously I found out the gender, and my close friends were there with me when I found the gender out, and all of that. But for the first few months we kept it very hush hush. Them 9 months, when you see it on social media, it seems like it goes so quickly. When you're the one with the baby inside of you, they are the longest 9 months you have ever had. I do not care what anybody says. Oh my God, it feels like yesterday I posted this. No, it doesn't. Don't lie. It does not. It feels like about 3 years ago. It genuinely felt like I was pregnant for about 2.5 years. And I was thinking, am I actually ever going to get to meet this baby? Because it doesn't feel like it right now. So I had quite a lot of, obviously, worries and doubts, so I didn't want to get too excited. And obviously when they said that, I was like, okay, so the baby might not be healthy. and with all the pain, not the pain meds, but the epilepsy meds that I was on as well, that can sometimes affect the baby. Obviously, in my case, I'm feeling very lucky and it's not. Our baby is very healthy. He wasn't as healthy when he was first born, but he's very healthy now. So that was one of the big things with me, was that some anxiety was getting in the way of a lot of things. Another thing, or another few things, is I was having the worst abdominal pain. And they said it was just down to just like where your uterus is growing and getting bigger. And I was like, no, this isn't in my uterus area. It was everywhere, and I was crying most days. I was in absolute agony. They did think it was, I can't remember what it was, pancreatitis. So I got loads of exams done from that. But that took me, so I went in first at 20 weeks. That took me until I was nearly 30 weeks for them to think it was pancreatitis. They then done some examinations and it came back that it wasn't the pancreatitis. They was like, we don't know what it is. So they then just put it back down to, it's just growing uterus. It's just pain. It's growing pains. And I was like, I'm telling you now, something is not right. Still to this day, I don't know what wasn't right. We still don't know. But I was in and out of the hospital for about 8 or 9 weeks, at least once or twice a week. I was in and out of that hospital with either appointments or like movement scares. It is such a stressful time, and I'm not even joking with that. And I was vomiting so much, I couldn't keep food down properly. It was absolute shambles and absolute hell. And do you know what, would I do it again? Absolutely, because I look at it now and I think, you're worth it. Everyone told me I'd say that, and I was like, no, you're crazy, you're mad if you think I'm ever going to say that. But do you know what, bite your tongue, because you do. And I genuinely couldn't imagine my life now without him. He's now coming on to obviously like 2 months old. He's got his first sort of jabs on Friday. Yeah, his due date was actually meant to be New Year's Eve. But because of the pain I was in, and I had to go see obstetricians and my neurologist and everything with my epilepsy, in the end I then basically got told, okay, you can come in for an induction at 37 weeks on the dot. So I went for the induction, and I had the pessary. That had to come out within about 12 hours because of how quickly the contractions were coming on and how strong they were. They was like, it can't be happening that quick. So they took it out for 7 hours and they put it back in for the rest of the 24. And they was like, okay, so your uterus has moved. Is it up and down, or it's like forwards and towards where it should be going? So I was like, so that means it's working, sort of thing. But there was like, but you know, you're not even half a centimetre dilated. And I was like, brilliant, cool, because when they're inducing you, you only need to be 2 centimetres dilated for them to pop your waters. So all I was praying for was to get to 2 centimetres. I was like, come on, Dace, you could do this, you could do this. It got to like day 2 and they said, oh, okay, we can put the gel in, because obviously after 24 hours it hadn't progressed. So they put the gel in, and that's, I want to say 6 hours the gel's in for. And I was getting very, very, very strong contractions, very frequent. And I was thinking, do you know what? It's hell, but it's going in the right direction. And, you know, I was like, it's only going to be like another like few hours max, sort of thing. Boy, was I wrong. I had the pessarine and the gel in for the full amount of time that you were allowed it in for. And then when we got to the end of hour 6 on the second day, I was thinking, right, come on, fingers crossed, I've got to be 2 centimetres dilated by now. No, I was not. I was half a centimetre dilated. And I was like, you are taking the absolute jivvy. I was like, what is going on? As you do. Anyway, they then said to me, they was like, so they gave me the options, and you know, you can either have another pessary, you can have a balloon, you can have the gel again, or we can book you in for a C-section, emergency, non-emergency, the following day. And I was like, right, let's just get me booked in. I was like, let's get me booked in. With my epilepsy also, I had to be very, very, very careful with how long I was in natural labour for once I'd be induced. So they didn't really want me having contractions for more than 3 days, and I was going on to my 3rd day, and I was like, I don't want to be absolutely exhausted. Like, I genuinely, I can't do it. So I was like, let's just get me booked in for the induction, and I'll get a good night's sleep tonight. Cool. Move on. Anyway, we get to the next day, and, you know, the, what do you call them? Like, the obstetrician, he came in, he was like, okay, so you're going for the C-section. I was like, yep. I think it's cat-free because they've got to get the baby out, but it's not an emergency sort of thing. So I was like, right, we're going to come round, we're going to get the guy that comes around and numbs you. I can't remember what they're called. I'll leave it here. We got them, they came round, all cool. They then was like, right, we're going to take you down to theatre. So like, we're going to take you down to theatre now. This was at about 10 o'clock, but they was like, we're not expecting you to go in until about 3 o'clock, but we just want to get you prepped so that if there is a last minute cancellation, you can just go straight in. So I was like, cool, yeah, cool, whatever. I got in and they hooked me up to the monitor, and I fell asleep, I'm not gonna lie, because the night before I didn't really have much sleep. So I fell asleep, and all of a sudden I wake up and it's only like, what, 11 o'clock. I'm thinking, why is there so many doctors and nurses in here? I hadn't realised that as I'd been asleep, his heart rate had dropped quite a bit. His heart rate had dropped quite a bit and it was inconsistent. So they was like, right, scrap that. You're going in for an emergency C-section and we're taking you in now. I was like, oh, you're joking. Like, I've just woke up from my 2-hour nap and I was like, what is going on? Anyway, so Adam was with me and my mum was in the room with me as well. And obviously I made my mum wait in the waiting bit. Anyway, so we was in at about, like, after I'd got numbed and everything, it started around 12:30, I want to say. It could be a bit earlier than that. And it started at about 12:30. And Adam was really, really nervous, and so was I, to be fair. But I was so numb. I was on cloud 9. I was loving life. I was like, I don't know what's going on right now, but just do it. And I was lying down, and I remember the guy said to me that you'll hear like a vacuum sort of going, and he said, and that's them clearing the water out from around him. And then once you've heard that, you know you're going to meet your baby in like a minute or two. And I was like, oh, cool. So I heard this vacuum go off, and I was thinking, Adam was like, does that mean the baby's coming out like now? And the guy was like, yeah. Honestly, they were really, really lovely in like the theatre, and they were really calming as well. We had music, we had a speaker on. You know, it was a really good vibe. He was taking loads of photos. I did not think I was going to cry at all. I really didn't. Adam said he wasn't going to cry either. We both cried. And I remember them saying, like, so they put like the curtain up sort of thing. And they're like, right, we're going to count you down. And, you know, they were counting me down. And I was thinking, am I not meant to be hearing, like, a baby cry? I was like, because you see in movies them crying, and you're like, oh, cool, I hear the baby cry. I didn't hear anything. And I started crying because they brought him to me. And I was like, why is he not crying? And basically where I'd been induced, and then it had not worked, and obviously they then had to get the baby out, and then the baby's heart started dropping. Perry didn't want to come out. He was like, I don't want to come out of this warm cocoon. I want to stay in here for longer. And obviously, due to my health reasons, that just was not possible for him to stay in much longer. So he wasn't crying, and I then started crying because I was thinking, you're not crying, why are you not crying? And obviously you do just genuinely think the worst. But I had honestly the most amazing team in there, and they explained everything every step of the way. They basically said that because we forced him out, he's not ready to breathe on his own yet. You know, the chances are he's probably going to need to be in NICU, and you know, he's going to be okay. We're going to do all we can to make sure he's okay, but it's not going to be a stereotypical birth story. And I was like, do you know what? As long as he's happy and safe, that is all that matters. So they took him over to the table, which is like just behind you sort of thing. And I said to Adam, I went, do not leave our son's side. I was like, just don't do it. I said, I don't care what state I'm in. I said, go. Just be with him, right? And so they took him over and they was putting on like an oxygen mask. If I've got some pictures, I'm pretty sure I have, I'll just upload them on the sides next to me. They put him on oxygen mask. He was absolutely diddy. He was £5.14. Yeah, he was absolutely diddy. And then they basically said, because the best thing for babies to be doing is skin to skin when they've just been born, whether they're in a good place or whether they're not, they like to do skin to skin before they do medical intervention. So they was like, can you do some skin to skin? And I was like, yeah, of course, like that's absolutely fine. Obviously he still needed the mask on, so I was very restricted. He kind of just laid here, like here sort of thing, and I just kind of held him like that. You can see in the pictures how awkward it looks because there's a lady holding him on me and I'm like, this is my son, but I can't fully hold him. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, they then decided after about 10 minutes of skin to skin, whilst they were sewing me back up and everything, they was like, he's going to need to go into NICU for a bit. He's struggling to breathe, you know. I was like, just do what you've got to do to make sure he is okay. And I said, Adam, again, do not leave his side. I had this fear that, you know, my baby was going to get switched with another baby. I was like, Adam, don't leave him. Do not leave him. I've seen too much Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, so after that, they took me into the recovery room. And my mum was waiting there for me, which was really nice because I was like, Adam is with the baby and my mum is with me. So I was really, really happy about that. Obviously, it's a really weird experience to talk about because it's like you see so many things on social media about the perfect pregnancy, the perfect birth and all of this. But what is the word? The reality of it is not a lot of births and pregnancies do go like that. And this should be the new normal, if that makes sense, that none of it is normal. That is the point of it. But do you know what? I would not change it for the world. He was in NICU for the first day. So he was actually born on Friday the 13th at 13:13. Now, I'm very, very like, what is that word? I'm very, like, I won't walk on 3 drains, that sort of thing. I'm quite, you know, like, how do you explain it? Superstitious, that is the word. I'm very, very, very superstitious, right? And I was like, I hated the day Friday the 13th. I really did, because I was like, something bad's going to happen. I was like, I know it is. But after that day, now it's probably my favourite day. It only happens like 2 times a year, if that. And his birthday was on one of them. And for him to be then born on 13:13, as everyone knows, I literally have 11:11 here. I'm very much a spiritual gal. So for it to be a 13:13, I was like, no, you're joking. And let alone on the 13th of December. I was honestly in shock, and they didn't actually tell us until, because like there was clocks in the room, but I'm not looking at the clocks, I'm looking at my son. I was like, I'm not doing that. And they was like, I cannot believe, but he was born on the 13th of the 12th, 2024, 13:13. I was like, that is absolutely bonkers. So anyway, he was in NICU, and after I'd been into the recovery room, they wheeled me round in my bed whilst I was still numb to the NICU so I could go and be by his side. He was in an incubator for the first 12 hours on oxygen. So other than the little few minute hug I got when he was on the operating station, I didn't actually get a cuddle with him until, and neither did Adam, until about 1 o'clock in the morning that next day, sort of thing. So we was up in NICU all night, went to bed at about 5 o'clock in the morning in the end. I then woke up at 10 a.m. and I was like, I need to go around, I need to be there with him now. So I then got up and started walking after a C-section, because I'm just that gal. I was like, I'm not sitting around. I think I got wheeled round in a wheelchair and then I walked back after. So I got wheeled round in a wheelchair and I was like, I need to be with my son. And overnight, and by, before we left, so we left at 5 o'clock, so between 1 and 5, he got taken off of the oxygen and out of the incubator and just on like a normal little bed. And it was at that point we knew that he was really good, he was okay, he was progressing, you know, and that he, you know, we could go to bed knowing that he's going to be okay. And I think that was one of the biggest things, is for me anyway. I was like, I don't want to go to bed until I know he's okay. And I did. So we then went to bed at like 5. I went back at 10. I spent the whole day with him. And then they said to us, which was really, really, really good news, that he could spend Saturday night with us. So Adam actually went back home because we obviously got taken in on the Tuesday, and this was the Saturday. We was expecting to be out way before this. I don't know why. So I had my first night obviously with him on the Saturday, and do you know what? He was actually as good as gold. Like, I know all mums say that, but he was really, really, really good the first night, and he's really good baby. He's quite chilled. But yeah, so he had a very rocky first 24 hours, but he's absolutely fine now. He's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me and Adam. Oh, I can't speak for Adam, but I can definitely speak to myself. I'll get him out. Hey. So this is Perry. Perry Justin Pash. Yeah. So yeah, he's currently £9, which is so good compared to the £5.14 he was literally less than 2 months ago. So he's doing really, really, really well. He's honestly got such a good personality as well. Like, he's so cute. And we're just so happy to, one, be able to announce it to you guys. Obviously, it's already been announced on my socials for a few weeks now, but to also introduce my YouTube channel with him, it is just, it's a pretty good feeling, I'm not gonna lie. You look so big on camera. He's fully asleep right now. There's literally a ring light there, so I am going to put him back in. But honestly, yeah, December was a pretty good month for us. It was, yeah, it was a very good month for us. And I'm just so thankful that everything ended out okay, and that he's healthy, and that he's here, and he's probably one of the most love little man on this planet. So thank you guys for all of your support over on social media. It does mean a lot. But yeah, that is the end of my first video, which is so weird me even saying that. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys stick around to see. It's going to be stay-at-home mum content, it's going to be beauty content, and it's going to be vlogs and stuff like that. So I'm really, really excited to start this journey with you guys, and I hope you subscribe, stick around, and I'll see you guys in my next video.